Whatever happened to the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania feel? Why has it not felt like a true Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania in the last several years? Every time the expectations get ratcheted up, and every time over the last, say, 4 or 5 years at least, it has not felt like a true Raw after WrestleMania. I don't think it's a single factor. I think it's a combination of things. Number one, the product and star power isn't what it used to be. The returns that used to happen at Raw after WrestleMania and the creative presented at WrestleMania have not, I think, lived up to the standards of what a Raw after WrestleMania used to be. We used to get massive returns. We remember getting a cash-in, famously by Dolph Ziggler. We even got, if I recall, a Brock Lesnar return in 2012 after being away from WWE for the last 8 years. And this year isn't really like any different from any of the last several, in that it had a slightly bigger feel than normal. Roman Reigns was there. We had some main roster call-ups. Sol Ruca interrupting Liv Morgan, and I think she did a nice job. We had Joe Hendry get announced for the main roster officially, which is about 2 years too late, in my opinion. We had an interaction between LA Knight and Gunther. We had a little tease between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. We'll talk about all this in detail, of course. But it hasn't felt like a true Raw after WrestleMania. It's missing that something extra. And yes, creative is a significant part of it. The creative just hasn't been there. The build-up also of the actual show is much more sizzle than steak. There was an actual promo cut for Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania saying it's the most unpredictable Raw of the year. And we're watching it going, nah, bro. It wasn't a bad show, but it's not Raw after WrestleMania quality. And it hasn't been for some time. And now is it time for us to lower our expectations? You could take that road and you could take that approach. But I also think there's another factor, and that is the makeup of the crowd. A lot of what used to make up the crowd, who used to make up the crowd, were overseas fans. No, I'm not shitting on United States fans. I actually mostly prefer their style of watching a wrestling show over the audiences that are in France or in Australia or wherever, Puerto Rico. And that's because the fans react when it's time to react. The fans overseas to me are just too loud all the time with chants I don't understand. It's distracting. It's self-serving. It doesn't add to the experience. I think generally it's too over the top and takes away from the experience. That's my personal opinion. But the fans that used to be at the Raw after WrestleMania used to add to the energy and feel of the show. And those people have largely gone away. It's not mostly overseas, or if they are from overseas, they're much more subdued. So I think those are two of the biggest factors, and it hasn't felt like a Raw after WrestleMania in quite some time. Now, before I get into Raw, I want to quickly talk about the CM Punk interaction at the airport. And if you are on Patreon, you saw my video about this, my take on it, about the interaction with the fan at the airport, and how CM Punk slapped the phone out of the fan's hands. Additional footage has come out showing the phone, the actual video recording from the fan's phone. And he was, from where the footage picked up anyway, he was following Bayley and AJ Lee as they were hugging each other in a hotel lobby. That's going to be very important as I move on here. And he got a little too close with the camera. He wasn't inappropriately trying to put it down their shirt or anything like that. He was just videotaping them a little too close, hugging. And Bayley said, "Go away, dude." And she pushed the guy away a little bit. And I understand that. He kind of got a little too close. That I have no issue with. You can't invade someone's personal space and not expect them to react appropriately. And so he backed up. And then immediately, that's when CM Punk slapped the phone out of the fan's hand. And that's where CM Punk's in the wrong. Look, I know that's your instinct. I understand your want to do that, but you have no legal standing there. The fan was not acting inappropriately from a legal standpoint. He wasn't. You're in a public space. And I don't want to hear that the Oh, the hotel lobby is not a public space. Yes, it is. Do you need a special invitation to walk into a hotel lobby? No, anyone can walk into a hotel lobby. That is not a public or a private space. The hotel may be privately owned, but the space inside the private property is the public. The public is invited in. Therefore, it's not a private space where you can reasonably expect privacy. You can't, because you're in a public space voluntarily. Now, if he was in their rooms where he was videotaping them, that's different. Then, or in the bathroom, then yeah, you should, that guy should be arrested instantly. I mean, that's just the case. And there are reports about guys who have followed some of the stars, not women, but some of the men into the bathroom. I think Booker T came out with a claim about that over the weekend, that people were following him into the men's bathroom. And in that case, in videotaping, then yeah, you should be arrested. End of story. But in this case, there is no legal standing. There's no legal standing for what this fan did. Is it a little weird? Yeah, it's kind of weird, but he was videotaping them hugging. They were in public. AJ Lee and Bailey were in public voluntarily hugging each other. No one forced them to hug each other and perform acts, right? They decided to hug each other, and the fan was videotaping that. You can't stop that. I don't want to hear about feelings either. What about the feelings? Who gives a shit? The feelings here are beside the point. Imagine if laws were all designed around how people feel. That would be disastrous. Now, I'm not saying that the fan maybe had some kind of weird intentions, maybe with the footage of what he would do with it. That's what I think a lot of people assume. But we can't get inside the head of the fan. What he did was well within his legal right to do, whether you like it or not. Again, I admit it, it's kind of weird. I probably wouldn't do that. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't just put the camera 5 feet away from two wrestlers who were hugging. I just wouldn't do that because it instinctually doesn't feel right. But it's not illegal. You have no expectation of privacy in a public space. End of story. Period. I mean, I know people are going, you're defending the fan. Well, what did he do wrong? Legally, what did he do wrong? The answer is nothing. In fact, CM Punk is actually the one who could get in trouble if the fan wants to push it. And apparently he's not going to. He just wants an apology from Punk, which we'll see if he gets it. But Punk could be charged with criminal mischief, with destruction of personal property. He could be if the fan really wants to go for it. I don't think he will, but he could. But this guy is well within his legal rights. That's the end of it. So I know people don't like it. Well, what about the women? How do they feel? Well, I don't care how they feel. Again, from a legal perspective, from what's right and wrong legally, that's the stance I'm taking. He did nothing wrong. How they feel is completely irrelevant. And also, if they felt that threatened, why would they just stand there? If they felt that threatened and in danger, wouldn't they have walked away? Walked away pretty quickly. Instead, they just stood there and told the guy to go away. And he did. He moved back several feet. And that's when Punk took action. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, I understand why people want to create a story here that's not there, that he's a creep. He's trying to take footage of their bodies. Well, your body in a public space has no expectation of privacy. I know I keep going back to that phrase, but that's the legal phrase being used under law, that you have no expectation of privacy in public. You can't. You have nothing. That's why you can go down the street and into any public space where the public is invited in and videotape. It may not be, you may get some looks, you may get some comments, but you cannot be arrested or cited for anything related to that. Like you can't. Now, if you go into someone's home, you go into a bathroom where there is an expectation of privacy. Yeah, you're going to jail, pal. And you should. But that's the law as it stands right now, like it or not. And I heard the guy even say on the footage, "I'm sorry, Punk," and he's like, "No, you're not." Sorry for what? What did you? Now, Punk, whatever. I'm not going to get into too much more of this, but the guy, did not do anything wrong. I'll leave it there from a legal perspective. You may have a different take on it, but I'm looking at what I saw. I'm not trying to get into the head of this guy. You can't arrest people for thoughts. You can't. You arrest people based on how they act in reality, what they're actually doing. And what he did actually has there's no legal standing here for him to get into any kind of trouble. So I know people are completely on the opposite side of this, but that's just reality, folks. And Punk is totally in the wrong. I understand his instinct to do it, but I'll leave it there. As you guys say, he's defending the fan. Yeah, I am. Legally, yes. And so would the law. The law would be on my side here. That's it. Sorry. All right. Well, follow me on X. Getting a lot of attention there lately. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but with the things I've been saying and stuff, people are up in arms and that whatever. Follow me at the WWE podcast on X if you want to. But we're here to talk more about Monday Night Raw. And there is a lot to talk about. And if you want more like this, more audio without the interruptions, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. And you can get everything here that you've heard now ad free. Or subscribe on Spotify ad free as well, or on Apple. Both of them offer ad free subscriptions for you, and you don't have to hear any of the ads throughout the show. So, where do we even begin? Where do we begin? Well, I guess we'll start right at the top of the show. And let's see, we had Raw open with a video package as is expected with WrestleMania 42. And again, this was from Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Oba Femi comes out in a suit and crowd was hot for him. Super hot. And he stood there after several minutes and said, "The ruler has arrived." Yeah, again, and he drops the mic. It's not exactly a mic drop moment. Mic drop moments are when you, as the kids would say, you cook someone. For me, that's not a mic drop moment. But I get what he's saying. It's just an emphatic statement, right? The ruler's here. And the crowd loves him, and I understand he's got an aura about him. He does. And I don't know how far, of course, we don't know how far this whole run will take him, but clearly the company has confidence in him to beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes at WrestleMania, to take it to the next level. It seems like the world title could be his next venture, probably heading into SummerSlam, maybe against Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman Reigns and Oba Femi, think about that matchup. Ooh, he even alluded to it on the post show. Oba Femi did. So I think that could be a next destination, but Oba Femi versus Roman Reigns, how is that not WrestleMania worthy? It seems like it is. So I would like at some point Oba Femi to cut a decent promo. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more. People are saying, "Oh, this is perfect." But why? I mean, wouldn't you like to know what this win meant? Why, what his next goals are? Just some basics, but I guess I expect too much out of promos from now for today's product. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Which also, TKO has announced, and they did this yesterday, that creative decisions are now all made exclusively by TKO. So Triple H essentially is no longer in charge of creative, or if he is, he's just a puppet to be used for the creative decisions made by TKO. And then, for better or worse, putting Triple H on the hook. But, you do wonder how long this has been going on for. And I know Triple H's apologists are saying, "Oh, we should all apologize to Triple H." Well, hang on a sec. I mean, we don't know throughout the year how long TKO has been truly involved with and making the decisions for creative. That may have been going on for just the last week, the last year. We don't know. So Triple H, I think, has been used as a scapegoat for the bad decisions by creative. But now TKO publicly saying this, Mark Shapiro saying that this is a creative decision, or all creative decisions are now with TKO. They've put themselves on the hook. So I think the heat has been transferred off Triple H, and has been put squarely on the shoulders of executives at TKO. And everything on here on out is going to be at, for better or worse, on their shoulders, right in their lap. So, I don't know if I, again, apologize to Triple H yet. We don't know. And I wonder if the Unreal series will cover this. Even if it does, is it really what really happened? So it's kind of like a Inception-based show. Is what we're watching really real, or is it they know the camera's on, so we're going to give only what we want to show them? I think it's the latter. Okay. So if Brock Lesnar is truly retired, and I don't know if he is, I really don't know. I would speculate it's 50-50 because Brock Lesnar could easily come back and do a SummerSlam match, and I think it should be with Gunther. And this is a little bit strange because Brock Lesnar apparently was supposed to retire at SummerSlam. However, Gunther still alluded to the big favor that Paul Heyman owes him. That big favor could be Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. That is a great finish to Brock's career. You could, I think, entice him with enough money to come back and do one final official retirement match. That would also help Gunther and add another notch in the belt of Gunther of beating guys in their retirement matches. Notice I didn't say retiring guys because he only truly in story retired one guy, and that was AJ Styles. The other two, Goldberg and Cena, as I've said, already decided that was their final match. The outcome of winning or losing did not determine whether or not they actually retired. That's a huge distinction, but Brock Lesnar could be added to that list. And I think if you're going to do it while Brock is still somewhat in the mindset of being able to work. So, let's continue. We have then Asuka and Kairi in a promo video talking about how Io is once again choosing her fake family over her real family. And she said Sky has dedicated herself to Rhea. How's that working out? And then we get Io Sky and Ripley taking on the Kabuki Warriors. And that match lasted 11 and a half minutes, which was longer than the championship match at WrestleMania between Stephanie McMahon and Liv Morgan. And the finish was Sky hitting the over-the-top moonsault, getting the victory. And afterward, Asuka knelt over Sane, who was lying on the floor, yelling at her in Japanese. And Rhea and Io are apparently parting ways as Rhea has won the championship, the women's championship, the WWE championship. And they're essentially saying goodbye to each other backstage. I don't understand that. There's no brand split. No one is exclusive anymore to any brand. Everything is whatever. That died years ago. Any kind of pretend brand split with rules that they never enforce anyway died many years ago. So people have been coming and going on shows now forever. So why does Rhea have to just be beholden to SmackDown? Are we pretending that there's some kind of split again? But I also thought that championships aren't exclusive to brands. If you're going to even pretend that that's the route they're going of, oh, she's going to say there's a brand split. No, well, again, you draft people, not championships. So why is the championship going over to SmackDown? You draft people. No, I know we all know it has to be split evenly, but anyway, I shouldn't overthink it. I should just shut up and enjoy the product. Right, Jacob? Right, Triple H? Right, Nick Khan? Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. Ever. I will continue to criticize this shit because it just doesn't make any sense. But Io and Rhea, essentially what they're doing is just saying they're splitting amicably, which is nice to see. They're splitting amicably and they're going their own ways. And that's nice to see once in a while where a team doesn't just have somebody turn heel. You can have nice amicable splits, and this is what's happening here. All right. So we then have, going down. Adam Pearce congratulating Penta backstage for retaining his title in the ladder match. Javon Evans showed up and congratulated Penta, and Evans said he's not going anywhere. Penta said they stole the show and they would do it again soon. Penta said he's not going anywhere. He delivered his Cero Mito catchphrase, which I never understand, but he does it anyway. And then, again, it shouldn't be about stealing the show. Why? This should not be a narrative. It should be about winning. Stealing the show is something for us to decide, fans to talk about. Because then, to me, it's you're too outwardly saying that I'm putting on a performance. Performances can steal the show, but from a wrestling perspective, you should be worried about winning and losing. That's it. That's it. It's like saying making history. Well, who gives a shit? Talk about winning and losing. What does it mean for you to win? What does it mean for you to lose? That's what we need to be focused on. This simple stuff. This is simple stuff that everyone's just now accepted as, well, they're outwardly talking about stealing the show. Like Dolph Ziggler made a whole career out of that catchphrase. I'm a show stealer. No. I mean, I know Shawn Michaels, I'm the show stopper, but he did it in a cocky way that he knew he was good at what he did. And Shawn Michaels sold in a way and spoke in a way that was insanely believable and authentic. His character like kind of fit that mold. But the whole industry is now about everyone talking about stealing the show and putting on like, no. But all right, moving on. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm in a mood. A still shot of CM Punk heading up the aisle after his WrestleMania match were shown, and there were boos. Cole said Punk would appear after the break. And there was also a graphic of Brock Lesnar saying, like, if you're in the arena and you didn't hear the announcers, which you wouldn't, there was a graphic of Brock put up on the Titantron that said, or it just had Brock Lesnar's picture, and it said tonight. So if you're in attendance, you're thinking, holy shit, we're getting Brock Lesnar tonight. But the announcer said it's going to be a look back at his career. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, if I was in the audience and I see that graphic, you're thinking Brock's going to appear, but they don't know what's coming. It has nothing to do with Brock being here. It's just a video package of him and some highlights of his career. Just very deceiving if you're in the audience, which got them to cheer. And WWE knew that graphic would get them to cheer. But anyway, little deceiving there. False advertising, kind of. So Royce Keys was shown in the crowd. And Cole noted that he won the Honor to the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and can be seen every week on SmackDown. CM Punk was shown walking backstage. Fans chanted his name while some other people booed, and Punk walked onto the stage. That's, I guess, going to be his thing now. He just walks out there without entrance music and stops, which is kind of cool. It's definitely different. I think we'll see if it is something that is, permanent moving forward. And the fans filled in clobber in time, and his music entrance hits, and he comes out. And Punk said he's dealt with a lot of loss lately. He recalled losing his MMA trainer, Duke Rufus, and said his dog, Larry, crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Again, I will say it, yes. I just don't give a shit about your dog, okay? I mean, sorry. I just don't. It's somehow taboo for anyone to talk about. It's too painful to even use in a promo. But all these dead people, you can bring up anybody that as human beings, the humans I know that have died. Yeah, bring those up all you want. Don't talk about my domesticated animal. How dare you? But hey, whatever. I got myself in trouble. But all right, Punk spoke about the late crew members he paid tribute to in his ring jacket, and also mentioned the death of musician Bo Loiters. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck that is. And then Punk said he lost the world championship and conceded that it stings less than the others he mentioned. And he thanked the fans for helping him deal with his grief. And he recalled winning the championship even though he wasn't supposed to, and says he stays ready and the fans would have seen Jey Uso as the champion had he not. And he spoke about staying ready because you never know when a championship opportunity might fall from the sky. And he said we keep fighting and wasn't taking time away. And he wrapped up his promo and was about to leave, but Cody Rhodes comes out with a brutal black eye. I mean, it was horrible. And Punk asked if he went over his time, and Cody said it's Punk's time in his show. Cody was surprised by Punk's demeanor, and Punk asked if Cody thought he was going to freak out. Cody said yes, and Cody said he didn't know what to do. He said he was the one feeling like a loser, and then Punk said, no, I'm the loser. Like, it was a weird exchange. The energy was just weird. It did not really bring in the crowd here. I don't know. He talked about his weird tattoo of a marshmallow on a stick. Whatever. Just a strange interaction. Punk said Cody beat a friend and a mentor, and that's why he feels the way he does. And he said it's okay because, again, he's technically the loser. No, it's just I'm the loser. No, you're the loser. It's weird. He said he's heavy. Oh, he said heavy is the head that wears the crown. And he said it wasn't his night on Sunday and told Cody to keep being champion. Punk looked at Cody's belt and said, you never know when a championship opportunity is going to fall out of the sky. He left, and Cody said, just say when. And that was it. So people are thinking this is a potential WrestleMania 43 main event. Yeah. I mean, you guys think I'm going to shit on this? I'm not. The interaction between them is way too friendly and cute, I have to say. Way too friendly and cute. And like insider shit. Like, it's weird. Like, don't bring your backstage conversations out here. Realize there's, 12,000 people in the arena. But this is potentially a tease for WrestleMania 43, barring any injury or creative decisions. Of course, that could change over the next 12 months, which is going to happen. That could easily be a WrestleMania main event. Do I think it'll top Roman and Punk? No. That main event will live forever. That was just incredible. It just gives you a reminder of why you watch what you do and how good pro wrestling can fucking be. It can be as good as it was for the main event of WrestleMania 42. It was one of the best main events I've ever seen. Was it the best? Time will tell. I'm not going to go that far because it's the most fresh in my mind. I'm not going to oversell it that it's the most impressive main event I've ever seen, but it was really, really, really good. And I don't think Cody and Punk could beat that, but it could get close. They're both incredibly talented. And you don't wonder who's going to be the heel on that one. Because both, you notice fans are kind of souring on both, probably Cody a little more than Punk. But they could be sold into a heel turn from either guy. I think Cody more than Punk, but 12 months from now, who knows what the landscape of the company is going to look like. And they could be teasing something for 43. So, okay. Finn Balor promo video aired. He spoke about how he expected betrayal from Dom, but not JD. He recalled a 12-year-old McDonough being an unassuming kid who walked into the gym. And Balor said he helped him become one of the greatest performers. And Balor said in the moment of truth, McDonough chose Dom. And Balor called this a full circle moment and said he would take out McDonough tonight. Okay, so Ethan Page then takes on Javon Evans. Oh, actually, let me give you the analysis according to Pro Wrestling Net. Great job, everybody over there. Credit to you guys. They don't even know I'm shouting them out, but I do every time that I read the reviews because they do an excellent job. So this is according to Pro Wrestling Net. They said, I liked Punk's upbeat approach to his first promo after losing the World Championship. Granted, I hope to see him turn heel at some point, but Punk's demeanor was unexpected. And I liked the contrast with WrestleMania winner Cody acknowledging that he felt and looked rough. I predicted that Cody Punk will be a WrestleMania 43 main event, but perhaps the tease at the end means they'll be meeting in the ring sooner. It could be. It does. History doesn't help WWE. Sometimes they just have to pull the trigger and they don't leave an ace in their back pocket. So they could get to it sooner. It's definitely a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam main event. Absolutely. But it's also a WrestleMania main event. These two are two top guys that can wrestle their asses off and would put on easily a 35-minute clinic. Yes. No doubt about it. Okay. Ethan Page and Javon Evans was then next, and it went 9 minutes and 45 seconds with Ethan Page beating Javon Evans after Page hits his twisted grin finish. After the match, Rusev gets in the ring and attacks Evans while Page went to the floor, and then Rusev put Evans in the Accolade. Penta runs out, threw some kicks at Rusev, dropped him with a super kick, and then Penta went to the ropes. Page climbed up on the apron and tripped him. Rusev put Penta down with a Machka kick. Page stood on the apron and smiled, but Rusev just stared at him, and then Page dropped off the apron, and Rusev put Penta in the Accolade, and Page applauded from the floor, and Rusev released the hold and put the IC belt over his shoulder. Good stuff. I mean, in terms of getting the Intercontinental Championship front and center here. I know everything's about the world title, and rightfully so at times, but you know what? The Intercontinental Championship being chased by these kinds of guys, the quality stars that are chasing them, it elevates the championship itself, which is what you're trying to do. Rusev's redomination, or how do I phrase this? his kind of repackaging as being this dominant force is nice, because that's who he should be. So Rusev looks like a real threat, and he has for weeks now. Yeah, he lost at Mania, but so did 5 other guys. That's washed away. If you remember the last Raw before Mania, he stood tall and beat the hell out of everybody. He did it again here tonight. So I think at some point in the next few months, you could easily see Rusev as Intercontinental Champion. Sooner than maybe than later. All right, a Hulk Hogan real docu-series footage was shown. And then we had some more stuff in the celebrities in the crowd. Tyrese Halliburton, and comedian Funny Marco, whoever the hell that is. I just don't care. Paige, Nikki, and Bella were also shown in the crowd. Why the hell they're in the crowd, I don't know. You guys have a backstage pass. Like, you have a locker room, you have catering. I don't understand it. Whatever. They've been doing that for a while. And there's also something, while I'm at it, Nikki Bella commenting about how, because Nikki Bella put a picture up of she said the 4 horsewomen. And it was from WrestleMania of her and Paige and Brie, and I can't remember the 4th person, might have been Bailey, in a backstage, I think, gorilla position. And people were hammering her for like, no, you're not one of the 4 horsewomen. And of course, she's hammering the men who are commenting. Ignorant men. This is feminism in action, folks. If you don't have an opinion that she likes or approves of, it's immediately because you're a man-hating, or rather you're a woman-hating, just narcissist. Some kind of, that's what you are, according to Nikki. She's constantly blaming just these ignorant men, right? It's the patriarchy. It's the men. The women aren't treated equally. Well, again, that's just Nikki Bella's, I have to be a victim all the time because I'm a woman, like, mindset. What about the women that commented on? There were plenty of women that commented on that picture, not in a good light. Go look at the comments. Don't take my word for it. But what do you think of those women? Or would you say anything against them, or is it just the men? Oh, it's just the men. Oh, okay. So if I say, like, if someone criticizes you, it doesn't hold the same weight if it's a man versus a woman. Okay, that's all I need to know. Nikki Bella is just the worst. She's just the worst. All right, let's move on. I'm trying to keep this as upbeat as I can. So let's see. We had the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan, Dom, JD, Raquel, and Roxanne come out. You Deserve It chant broke out. And she claimed to be the greatest women's champion of all time. And she thanked the other Judgment Day members, thanked her WrestleMania opponent. And Morgan said they beat the hell out of each other. But it reminded her of who she is, the most talented woman in WWE. There's also a report. I know I keep interjecting, but there's so much news in my head that keeps interjecting itself into this show here. There was a report that came out, and it might have been from, I don't know if I want to quote it right. There was a reliable news source on X that said that the reason Vaquer and Morgan's match was so short at WrestleMania is because they were both banged up and WWE didn't want to risk them getting more hurt. That's bullshit. They're trying to retroactively cover their ass for only giving them 9 minutes, which I think is a disgrace. That build was actually really good. They're more than capable of going 12, 15 or more minutes, and they gave them 9. I mean, that's just essentially 2 ad blocks that we got at WrestleMania. Their entrances were probably longer. It's inexcusable, and I'm not being pro-feminist. No. I'm just saying, like, that's what they deserved. I'm very objective here. They deserved much longer to tell a better story. They still did a really good job with their 9 minutes, but they could have done more. That's not their fault. But the report is that, WWE didn't want them to get more banged up. It's like, no. That's bullshit, because they're either cleared or they're not. They're either cleared or they're not. If they're not medically cleared, then they're not cleared. They don't perform. If they are, then you let them go. You let them wrestle. You let them do what they're trained to do. Everyone's hurt all the time and sore all the time. So you're saying if they weren't good enough, or if they weren't medically cleared to go more than 9 minutes, well, what if something happened within those 9 minutes? It doesn't make any sense. That is nothing more than TKO trying to cover their ass. So I'm with everyone on that, and I usually am the contrarian. But Sol Ruca comes out and says she's been watching Morgan and said she deserved it. Morgan said Ruca had some nerve coming out here and getting in the ring and with her family. And Morgan said Ruca is no Liv Morgan. She told her to get the hell out of the ring, and Ruca said she didn't come out to pick a fight, but she wasn't going to come back down from one either. Adam Pearce comes out and makes Liv Morgan versus Sol Ruca in a non-title match. So, again, if that report is true that TKO is truly trying to cover WrestleMania's time for Morgan and Vicaire, that they were banged up, well then what the fuck is she doing in a match the next night? Explain that to me. Or 2 nights later, because they were Saturday. But still, if you were that worried about the health of Liv Morgan, well, you would keep her out of action for a little while, no? It's so stupid. But the match went 12 minutes. So this match with Sol Ruca out of nowhere went 12 minutes on a Monday Night Raw, but the championship match that was built for months went 9. Inexcusable. That said, this was a really good showing for Sol Ruca. She is incredibly athletic. She's got a great vibe to her. This match ended with Liv Morgan beating Sol Ruca, and she should have, after hitting her Oblivion finish. But Sol Ruca, I think, made a name for herself here. Got in front of a bunch of eyeballs. After the match, Stephanie Vicaire came out and went face-to-face with Morgan, and Vicaire spoke to Morgan. Just a really good debut for Sol Ruca. I enjoyed this. In Pro Wrestling That agrees. They said a hot debut for Ruca, who showed off the Soul Snatcher. Oh boy, there's a little bit of a... I forgot about her finish name. I'll leave it there for the name of the finish. We can all figure that out. But nonetheless, it's a clever name. And some of her other flashy moves, I predicted that Ruca, Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, and JC Jane would be called up after WrestleMania. And as much as I wish I could claim to be the next Nostradamus, it was all because of the way they had booked NXT lately. It was a nice touch to have Zarya cost Ruca the win. Yeah, fine. I can't disagree. Very, very good. Sol Ruca, you couldn't ask for a better debut. She's now a nice new shiny toy that WWE can play with. Do I think she'll win a championship in the next 6 months? No. We're looking maybe at the end of the year or next year. But she's a player, no doubt. We then get a really cool Brock Lesnar video package. It was to Godsmack's I Stand Alone. It had highlights of everything from his interactions with JBL, Paul Levesque, Dana White, John Cena, Stone Cold, Becky Lynch, everything. It was about 3 minutes, and it ended with him leaving his boots in the ring and his gloves in the ring. I love this mostly because 2 things. Number one, it reminded you just how fucking badass Brock Lesnar is. He has had a career that is unmatched, a very unique career, not a traditional pro wrestling career. He's got a much different story than most. He's accomplished more than like 99.9% of people on this earth will ever accomplish. He's a one-of-a-kind talent, a once-in-a-generation talent, or even more rare than that. So that was number one. Number two, the music of this promo package brought me back to the mid-2000s when video packages were life. I mean, you looked forward to the video packages, putting together, summarizing programs right before they happened, the matches right before they happened. We barely got that at WrestleMania. Maybe only the main events had video packages. Video packages used to really what sold the whole match. I mean, sometimes you didn't even need to see the whole build actually play out in real time. You could have just got to the PLE, or pay-per-view as it was then known, and only seen the actual video packages and been like, yeah, here's my money. Just take my fucking money. Like, here it is. Take it. That is how good they used to be and how much we used to love them. And the music that they would choose for them, some of it's iconic. Yes, My Way by Limp Bizkit is the gold standard, but some others as well. Stained had some great ones. But this really, to me, was a throwback track. Just great. Brought me back for a moment. Okay, Paul Heyman then introduced himself after Logan Paul and Austin Theory made their entrance. And Heyman recalled Punk kissing the asses of production team and everyone backstage during his earlier appearance. and he called out production for still having Brock Lesnar in the now portion of the then now forever together opening. He said Lesnar is done for now and will forever be the baddest. He kind of stopped there, but we knew what he was implying. SOB to ever be in a WWE ring. Then he shifted focus to the now and spoke of there being a resurgence in the tag division. He told the crowd that Logan Paul had a personal message. The fans booed Logan, and he blamed IShowSpeed for losing at Mania. And Heyman thanked Gunther for the favor he did for him. And Heyman says he owes him a favor. Boy, that's going to be big. And he is willing to repay it. Heyman spoke about the person responsible for the best assist of WrestleMania, and that's when Bron Breakker comes out. So again, before we get to Bron Breakker, this favor I really hope will lead to a Brock Lesnar Gunther match at SummerSlam, where Gunther can end Brock Lesnar's career. That's what you'd want to do with a guy like Brock to really give back to the business, and he did certainly for Oba Femi, but for Gunther, who's going to be here hopefully for another 5-10 years, that would be a hell of a notch to the belt of Gunther. So I believe that will be the cash in, and we're not going to hear about that favor, and we're probably going to forget about it up until it's time for SummerSlam season, which is just a few months away. So Bron Breakker comes out. He hugs Logan in theory. Breakker told the crowd that it was 1 year ago in the same arena when he became the leader of the Vision because Seth Rollins was too weak. He said his favorite part of WrestleMania weekend was watching Rollins get close to beating Gunther and then ruining everything for him. Fans chanted Rollins throughout the night, and then Breakker said he hopes Rollins was watching somewhere because he would be coming for him for this day forward. Rollins' entrance music plays, and he entered the ring behind everybody and hit Breakker from behind with a chair. Breakker grabbed the back of his head and rolled to the floor, and he got double teamed. Rollins did. The Street Profits. Yes, the Street Profits come out. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Montez is now back in shape, for those wondering. He's dropped some weight. Good for him. And then he came out and cleared Logan in theory from the ring. And Breakker returned with blood on the back of his head. Breakker charged Rollins, who super kicked him, and Rollins went for a stomp, but Breakker avoided it and speared him. And Breakker grabbed Rollins and told him he would ruin everything until he's done. And Breakker ran the ropes and speared Rollins again. That chair shot broke or definitely hit Breakker the wrong way. That was on Rollins for sure. So hopefully he's okay. The spear is brutal. It's great to see Bron Breakker back. It's just a totally new life into the Vision. Yes, Logan and Austin Theory are there, but they're side characters at best right now, the way they're being presented. Bron Breakker is clearly the leader. He has reinvigorated this group. And Rollins and Breakker are headed for likely a backlash match, which should be no disqualification. All right. Skipping some other stuff here, another video package of JD McDonough. I'm going to skip over that. We then get Finn Balor and JD, the actual match. That went 6 minutes and 15 seconds with Finn beating JD after he hit the coup de grace on his injured ribs. After the match, Dom comes out and attacks Balor, who fought back. But Balor went for the coup de grace, but McDonough pulled Dom to the floor. So Balor was also busted open. Boy, lots of blood over the last 48 hours, no? Now, I'm not complaining. I actually, in a sick way, enjoy it. It's nice to see blood. I know accidents happen, but I'm saying the designed blood in matches, especially in the two main events for WrestleMania, I have always been a fan of it, and I've missed the hell out of it when it was banned for how many years. All right. Gunther was interviewed backstage. He said he felt fantastic after beating Seth, and he said there's no me and Paul Heyman. LA Knight comes out or rather interrupts and said Gunther isn't the only one with eyes on the World Championship, and Knight said Gunther had help winning his WrestleMania match, which counts as an L for him, and then he hit his catchphrase, and he said he'd see him around. So Knight's going to be involved again in the championship picture, but not a chance he's winning. I mean, there is no chance, especially given now who's champion. Roman just won it back. He's said he's going to be here all summer. There's no chance. There's just none. Sorry, Knight. Once again, I don't think fans can get invested in this character because he's always in a position where he may be in the main event occasionally, but you know it's not positioned at the right time for him to win. So fans kind of lose faith. All right. Next week in Raw, on Raw in Laredo, Texas. We have Becky Lynch, a Joe Hendry concert. Graves acted annoyed that Hendry was going to hold a concert, and then Cole said Hendry's on Raw for good now. And Graves asked whose name he had to say to make Hendry disappear. Okay. So not too much confirmed for next week. Kind of very bare bones. Rhea and Io say goodbye backstage, and again, she has an interaction quickly also with Liv. I talked about that earlier. Roman Reigns arrives. He comes out, and he said, I missed this. Jay gave him a yeet. He comes out with, of course, his cousins. He said no one can touch them when they're together, and they ran business for 4 years straight as the Bloodline. He said he wasn't asking the Usos to serve him. He said he was asking them to be his blood and stand with him. Jimmy said Roman will always be their tribal chief. Jimmy dropped the mic and then said he and Jay held up their index finger, or they did hold up their index fingers. Roman was about to join them, but Jacob Fatu comes out and joined Reigns and the Usos in the ring. Reigns said he hadn't seen him in a while and assumed he must be there to acknowledge him. Fatu said no, and Reigns assumed Fatu must want his title, and he said he doesn't want the world championship. He needs it, and he wants everything the tribal chief has, a shoe deal, Rolex, vehicles, bigger house, put his children into a better school, and said he would do everything for his family, even if he has to go through Reigns. And he brought up taking the title from Reigns at Backlash, and he agreed with Fatu, and he wants those things for him. And he said maybe Fatu can beat him, maybe he can't. And he wondered if Fatu could handle the burden of the title. And if he wondered Fatu if he could handle the burden of acknowledging him if he lost. Fatu said the air was thin at the top of the mountain and said he would give Fatu the rest of the week to think about it. He said, I'll see you next week on Raw, little cousin. And then that was it. And that was it. So the bloodline seemingly is reformed with the kind of core bloodline of Fatu, or rather Roman and Jimmy and Jay. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. They always go together. We were fatigued from the bloodline for a long time with all of their infighting and Civil War stuff, and it just went on too long. And it was an excellent storyline, but it did outlive its usefulness. And there were so many iterations and versions and turns and everything. I don't need anyone turning in this version of it. Just keep the core together. Roman having some backup as a babyface is interesting, but I think it'll work. And Jimmy and Jay, I think, are well suited for this position. I just don't want anyone turning on anyone ever for any reason. Please. Jimmy on Jay, Jay on Jimmy, Jimmy on Roman, Roman on Jay. I don't care what combo you try to sell me. Just keep them together. There's nothing we want to see involving the infighting. So if that's the case, cool. If Roman has some backup, it elevates Jimmy and Jay beyond outside of the tag division now up to Roman's position again. And he can say they're not there to serve him, but it's almost implied that that's going to be their role anyway, because it's going to, whatever Roman's doing, they're going to be in line with. So they are serving him, even if he's not outright saying they're serving him, their actions will show he's still serving them. You know what I'm saying? So it's fine though. I'm not complaining whatsoever. Is there any chance Jacob Fatu is going to win the championship? Yeah, fuck no. We all know that. Not only is it just a principle that anyone winning a championship at WrestleMania has a 0% chance of dropping it at the next PLE, but it's Roman Reigns. So there's a triple chance of 0 for Jacob Fatu, but it elevates him into the championship picture if you're looking for that. So that'll do it for the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Overall, if I gave it 5 stars, I'd give it 3. 3 out of 5. Not bad. Move things forward. Some solid debuts. Just not at the level of a Raw after Mania expectation. Although, again, maybe we should recalibrate what we should expect from Raw after WrestleMania. You know, if this was just a regular Monday Night Raw, we'd be like, oh, this is a lot better than normal. But since the expectation is Raw after WrestleMania, I didn't give it as high of a grade. But it was a good show. I will say that. So if you want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. And that'll do it. I'll be back pretty much maybe every day. I might be cutting videos every day. I've been getting into video a lot more. You can see those exclusively on Patreon. Sometimes I put them on, my X or on TikTok. But for those on Patreon, you will be getting a video barrage over the next week, especially with all the stories and follow-ups from the Punk situation and things that we haven't even heard that happened at WrestleMania, maybe with fans. And interactions with fans, which I'm hearing a lot about, by the way. I'm hearing, Randy Orton was barraged and a crazy mob of people. It's like, well, first of all, no. If you watch some of these videos, the titles are totally overblown to just get you to click on the video. Nobody's being restricted. No one's actually being assaulted by any of the fans. It's just your typical, hey, there's a star and there are wrestling fans around. What do you think is going to happen? If you're a wrestling star in a city that's hosting WrestleMania and you're out in public, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Again, you shouldn't act inappropriately. You shouldn't threaten or harass. You shouldn't invade space or demand. Like, yeah, there's things you shouldn't do. But if you're trying to get clicks and create stories from nothing, then that's just wrong. That's just wrong, and that's just bad news reporting. And that's really all that is. So, all right, well, that'll do it for me, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.